Good morning, ladies, and hope you don't have the germ. This is your ticker guy coming at you with your blowback update for the 7th. Oh, what a tangled web Hunter Biden and his pals have woven. The Senate filed a document request with Treasury for a bunch of things related to Hunter's little games over in the Ukraine with Burisma and apparently the Chinese stuff as well, is specifically having to do with him flying on Air Force Two. Remember me talking about that some time ago? Yeah, well, guess what? The Senate's on the case. Apparently, Grassley is extremely bent out of shape about this, as well he should be, as well as should any taxpayer. I mean, after all, it is our money that got siphoned off and stolen over there in Ukraine, right? I mean, I pay taxes. Maybe, some of the listeners to my podcast are in the, we don't pay taxes, we just steal things from the government, so we really don't care if somebody else does it because we're doing it too. I'm not in that camp. I'm in the I pay taxes camp, and as a result, I'm bent out of my mind by the idea that people are just basically using our treasury as a piggy bank, which a lot of people in our government are. Yeah, I'm not real happy about that. You shouldn't be real happy about that. If you're a demon scat and this is one of those things that you think is perfectly okay for the political class to engage in, may I recommend that you go screw a goat, because that's about how I feel about you. And that's especially true if you're a pajama boy or a pajama girl and you're sitting around your parents' basement and you're not paying taxes. Or even worse, you're one of those leeches that sits around and poops out kids 10 at a time and then thinks that the government should pay for you to eat and to feed them and clothe them and give them medical, because you don't have to go to work. All you got to do is have a uterus. See, those policies which aid and abet people like Hunter Biden doing this sort of thing are also a big part of why we had people that just, ramped up on the disability stuff and then disappeared into the woodwork. Why we added how many millions of people to that set of ranks during Obama's presidency, who, by the way, during this wonderful full recovery of Trump's. Has anybody noticed, we got the employment numbers today? That not labor force number. It has come down a little, but not much. It's been remarkably stable since the end of the Obama era. It stopped going up, but then again, it had stopped going up a couple of years after the so-called Great Recession, too. But it just hasn't come down much. And for all of those people who, oh my God, all these people are coming back into really? The statistics say no, they're not. By the way, on that jobs report, I'm not going to do a full post on it because nobody ever reads it. It is consistently the worst circulated of all the columns I do every month. Consistently. It has been ever since I started doing it. You'd think that people would care about the internal messages and the knowledge that you get out of what's going on with the economy from the actual jobs market, but you'd be wrong because, it's not pretty. If you're a guy, it doesn't have big pair of breasts. If you're a gal, well, I suppose it isn't a Chippendale. But, whatever. And if you're one of those people that, that bends a little on the odd side, well, then doesn't have whatever it is that you're into. There's times that I just say, this is not worth it. But, then I get the chuckles, like I did this morning with the Grassley news. And I have to tell you, I really did get the chuckles from that. I hope they nail that SOB to the cross. And that they keep going after everybody else too. By the way, can we look at Nancy Pelosi's family? Could we have that conversation? Because she's just as dirty as Biden, if not worse. So yeah, we ought to be looking at her family as well. Because Biden's just not enough. I'm just not going to be satisfied with just Biden's. Although it seems to be everybody within Biden's family, not just Hunter. Everybody. Yeah, We'll see how far this goes. If this is just aimed at one person's political blowback for impeaching the president, that I will be pissed off about, because that's not only is it insufficient, it sends no message to the people who do this kind of bullshit that you should not do it, you can't get away with it, you're going to get busted, and ultimately, if you did something that's illegal and we can find a crime in there, we are going to lock you up, and we should lock you up. That's how it should be. I don't know that it will be, but that's how it should be. All right. Coronavirus. That's the podcast is coronavirus. So, if you're tuning in here, it's because you read the header on my ticker post. It said, go about 5 minutes in and you'll just get the virus stuff. Update for today is that we're basically in exactly the same place we were yesterday, which is very interesting. No. That doesn't mean that there aren't any more cases. There are more cases. But the slope, as of the latest update that I have here, which is 31523, although what I have in the table is 31522. One more got added, 31522. The belly is still there. It's still flat. And that little bit of exponential lift is still there with regards to what China's reporting and what's coming out of China. And that is troubling. The other thing is that we apparently now have this others, which I guess is the cruise ship people. They've added a category. Well, I think that's fair. I really do. But again, we still stand at, right about a dozen in the United States, dozen in Germany, 15 in Australia. Isn't it funny? White man sanitation. Yeah, Australia was a British penal colony, but they got British culture, don't they? White man culture. Is this what's going on here, folks? Nobody wants to go there. You know why nobody wants to go there? Because if you go there, then you have to start talking about the fact that there really is a difference in cultures. There is. No, all cultures are the same. All cultures produce the same kind of outcomes. We have the same number of dumb people, same number of smart people, the same number. Yeah. Defecating on the side of the road is not a cultural thing. It isn't? I thought it was. It's also a damnably difficult thing to address when you got a pandemic going on. It takes generations to inculcate people from a cultural standpoint, change their behavior. There used to be a saying, you get called a racist for using it nowadays, but it's the truth. You can take a person out of the hood, but you can't take a hood out of the person. There's something to that. That's, of course, that was being applied to black people, and I don't like attaching things like that where the basis is color, because it's not really the case. There's plenty of white trash around too. No shortage of them anywhere in the United States. We have that, as well. But it is a cultural thing. It really is. Even the white trash. Wait a minute. I was going to say even the white trash is still crap on a toilet and wash their hands. I'm not so sure about that. Where I'm right now, every now and then you go past some places in a rural area and there's still an outhouse out there and a trailer with half the roof ripped off and there's people living in it. I don't think the power company still provides electricity there because they probably rate it as unsafe and they've long since yanked the meter. I don't dare get out of the car and go look. I might get shot. Probably cooking meth in the back. But, but it is a cultural thing. We're running out of time for the screamers, and you know who you are. Some of them have gotten thrown off of Twitter. Some of them have gotten thrown off of other places that have said, oh my God, the sky is falling. We're all going to die here in America from this coronavirus. Where's the person-to-person transmission? R-naught certainly appears to be under 1 in the United States. As I said, we're not, I cannot say it with certainty yet. Because that incubation time thing is out there, and we know that this thing has an extended one in many cases. But we're running up against the point where we have to start seeing cases show up in the U.S. that are serious enough that people go seek medical care and they end up in the hospital and therefore they get tested, or they go to a doctor's office and the doctor gets suspicious and they get tested and they get found to, in fact, have coronavirus, and therefore our count starts to go up, much like mainland China's did. And if it doesn't happen in the fairly near future, believe me, it's not because Donald Trump slammed the door on Chinese people coming into the United States late, which he did, and which he should have done when this first started. We may have dodged this bullet, folks, simply by virtue of the fact that there is a cultural difference in sanitation, personal sanitation, and practices. And this particular virus, when it comes to person-to-person transmission, happens to be most efficiently transmitted that way, and not by coughing and sneezing. Maybe, just maybe, we're going to have a reason to say, white man culture good. Oh, I know I'm a racist. Or maybe I'm just being honest. Maybe, just maybe, it wasn't so smart to stick all your production capacity over in third world shitholes, eh? Where such cultural norms are not held. Maybe, just maybe, slave labor and the much lower cost of living that comes from not having to do things like, build flush toilets and sanitation systems, might contribute to the fact that your labor costs over there are 50 cents an hour. Really? Anybody think about that? You know, who usually builds those systems? It'd be governments, right? And how do they pay for it? They do this thing called tax. You know, when I flush my toilet in the United States, it either goes down a sewer, a municipal plant, and for that privilege, I get a bill every month. Or when I built my house, the county people, they insist that I put a septic system in that has a tank and a drain field, and that it be certified for the number of bedrooms I'm going to have in that house. They won't let me put the house up until I do that. And even in places that really don't have much in the way of codes, that's one of the things that they really do care about. Why? Because there used to be these diseases like cholera that ravaged everywhere on the planet. And then we got civilized. Just a little more civilized. We still cook meth in the backyard if you're white trash. But even if you're white trash, a decent percentage of you, most of you, still have a septic field in your backyard. Or you're hooked up to a sanitary sewer. And as a result, your shit does not go flying all over the place and infect 24 other people. And when you go out in public, even the worst public toilets in rest areas on the highway and things like this, they flush and they have a decent disposal system to segregate waste. And they actually use sanitizer of various kinds when they mop the floors. Fancy that, you know? They got a bottle that's got some bleach in it. How difficult. Well, you know, we just, and folks, this is not a racist thing. It's a cultural thing. If you don't grow up thinking at the right place, you know, we don't think about this as Americans, all right? Maybe we ought to, but we don't. It's just kind of part of, you know, you get to, I raised my daughter. She's an adult now, all right? She's well past the legal age to drink. But I remember that the early days when she was a baby, right? Then a toddler. And, you know, one of the things that changes between baby and toddler is that you get taught by your parents, hopefully, a parent or parents, in my case, parent, in this case, where things called poop and pee go. And you want to stop wearing these things called diapers, well, you have to learn where the poop and the pee go. And and then, you know, what the protocol is with that, right? You put it in the potty, and then you use the toilet paper, if you don't live somewhere where you have a bidet. And then after you get done, you go to the sink and you turn on the water and you wash your hands, and there's some soap there. And you use the soap and you scrub your hands. Why? Because you might have gotten some poop or some pee on your hands. And you don't want to get that on other things. We make jokes about people leaving skid marks in their underwear. But why is it that going commando is kind of frowned upon? Because then it gets through into the rest of your clothes. And, you know, a lot of people, myself included. I'll wear a pair of jeans if I don't trash them more than one day. Well, do you want to put that back on if there's a bunch of crap on the crotch? Not really. And yet, you do go to the bathroom once or twice a day, right, to do a number 2 on average. Oh, what, but there's another layer there. And you take that off and you put that, you put that in the laundry, you get a clean one. We have this is cultural, folks. That's all it is. It's cultural. And you can't change cultures in 15 minutes. You can tell somebody that this is what you have to do. But, you can put signs up in all the public bathrooms. But you think about this. You have to put a sign up. Why do you have to put a sign up? Because the people who are there don't understand that's the culture. Anyway, coronavirus, as it stands right now, same place we were yesterday, does not look like China has it contained. It looks very uncontained, very bad. All right. I'm expecting that this is going to break out in Pakistan and India, and probably already has, along with a number of other Southeast Asian countries. They're just not reporting on it because they've got crap for infrastructure in the places where it's going to hit them first, in the middle of the jungle or in the middle of the poor places, and until things really start to get out of control, which is going to take another few weeks. You're not going to get a lot of notice out of there. But God help those poor people in India. Seriously, I really mean it. If you think the situation in China is bad, oh boy. But as far as changing cultures, folks, you can't do it in a short amount of time. It's impossible. So I do expect much more and much worse coming on this. I really do. I think we're in a lot of trouble. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination this thing's over. Those who think it is, you're just wrong. But in terms of the U.S., not so much. Now, the disruption in the global supply chain is going to be immense. And anyone who thinks that that's not going to be a big deal is probably going to be proved dead wrong on that too. This ought to be a lesson to all of those multinational CEOs and all those companies that think that, oh my God, it is such a great idea to save an extra 15 cents on blah, blah, blah by having our slave labor at 50 cents an hour. I hope some of the firms that did this go under. They actually go out of business. It's what they deserve. It is the just deserts. The wages of sin are death. And that's applied at a corporate level as well as a personal one. So we'll see if that ends up happening. I suspect it is for some. Oh, by the way, those cruise firms, cruise ship companies that were running cruises over here after this thing started and still kept running them over in Asia, you deserve what you get. That you now have ships that can't dock anywhere, that are being forced into 14-day quarantines offshore. You had this coming. You deserve this outcome. I have no sympathy for you whatsoever. I hope your stock price gets hammered into the ground. Absolute insanity that they continue to do this. But, you only learn when somebody says, nope, you're not docking here. Sorry. Have a good day. Yeah. That's it for today, folks. And I'll be back with you tomorrow.